Did you do what they said you did?
I never touched that woman.
Okay, Joseph. You got lawyers now.
The movie opens with Thurgood Marshall, a prominent black attorney in the year 1941, defending a black man who was wrongfully accused of murder by the police in Oklahoma. At the same time, our second protagonist, Sam Friedman, successfully wins a traffic-related case in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Both lawyers are good in their own fields, Thurgood in criminal law and Sam in insurance claims law. While waiting for his train to arrive, Thurgood is being intimidated by 3 white men who are racists. The train arrives just in time for him to evade the attack, which brings him home to New York City. Thurgood is the only attorney working for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or NAACP. Their priority is to defend black citizens who are wrongfully accused of crimes simply because of their race. Thurgood is immediately ordered by his boss to travel to Connecticut tomorrow for another case, even when he just got back from Oklahoma. This time, a driver is being charged for allegedly sexually assaulting his employer's wife. Despite being tired and overworked, Thurgood knows he must take the case to secure investors for NAACP and boost their cause.
We win this thing, our big donors are coming right back, Thurgood.
In Connecticut, Sam is swimming when a man named Ted Lancaster approaches him. He turns out to be Sam's high school bandmate, and he now works for the NAACP's Oklahoma branch. Ted wants a favor from Sam to admit Thurgood into the sexual assault case as an out-of-state attorney. Ted refuses because he doesn't want to take part in criminal cases, but it turns out that his brother has already submitted the request to the state court. So reluctantly, Sam picks up Thurgood from the train station. Thurgood is a man who's self-assured, unlike Sam, who often acts timid. While carrying Thurgood's suitcase full of law books, Sam reminds him that he's only going to help Thurgood get admitted to the case before he backs off. Thurgood is dismissive of Sam's decision, instead asking whether he has met their client before. While waiting to meet the defendant in jail, Thurgood tells Sam about how he sued the University of Maryland for refusing to admit him simply because he's black. Sam is impressed that Thurgood had defended a case in Maryland Supreme Court. Then, the two finally meet their client, the driver named Joseph Spell. Immediately, Thurgood asks him if he had indeed done the alleged crimes, but Joseph denies claims he has an alibi. He was driving to a bar when a cop pulled him over and let him go around 3 a.m. Joseph also denies that he ever touched the victim. After seeming convinced, Thurgood says that he and Sam will defend Joseph for free in the name of NAACP.
I never touched that woman.
Okay, Joseph. You got lawyers now.
In Sam's car, Thurgood asks what kind of prosecutor and judge they're dealing with for this case. Sam explains that the prosecutor is a bigot that is prejudiced towards colored people, while the judge was his father's former law partner, so he might be biased. Thurgood is dropped off at Ted's house, and he sits with the family to chat. It turns out that Ted is also a law school graduate, but the state didn't grant him his attorney's license, so now he's a driver. While Ted puts his daughter to bed, his wife Irene doubts Joseph's claimed innocence. She says that women don't usually lie about being sexually assaulted, so Thurgood must find out why she would claim so. The following day, in front of the court, Thurgood and Sam are being questioned by the reporters, where Thurgood claims with confidence that Joseph is innocent. In the first pre-trial hearing, Sam appeals to admit Thurgood into the case as requested. However, Judge Foster denies the appeal and wants Sam to be the attorney for this case. Despite the prosecutor, Loren Willis's dismay, he still allows Thurgood to counsel Sam without speaking in the court. With the trial set a month away, Sam panics, but Thurgood insists that they're a team now.
It's you and me.
The attorneys drive to the bridge where, according to the victim, Joseph had brought her to after the assault. She claimed that he pushed her off the bridge while bound and gagged, then threw stones at her to presumably attempt to kill her. Thurgood examines the ground and collects pebbles for evidence, while he orders Sam to inspect the lakeside where she had swum ashore and escaped from. Back in Sam's office, his brother Irwin says that an attorney from the Communist Party wants to take over the case. Thurgood thinks that the Communists only want to make Joseph a martyr for their own causes. Sam still wants to drop the case because it seems difficult to win, and record shows that Joseph was dishonorably discharged from the army, left his wife and child for another woman, and he had stolen before. However, Thurgood argues that there's too many discrepancies in the victim's story and that he needs Sam to try this case for him. Eventually, Sam relents, and they order Irwin to look for the cop who pulled Joseph over that night. Sam is going to need a lot of studying for his first criminal case. Thurgood returns to his house in New York and spends some needed quality time with his wife, Buster. Meanwhile, Sam's wife, Stella, is giving him the cold shoulder for taking on the case. This is because their family has been receiving backlash from their Jewish peers for defending a colored man.
You tell him that everybody is terrified by what this man did.
But at the end of the day, Stella still loves her husband. Before the trial begins, both sides of the case are choosing the upcoming jury members. Most are deemed by Thurgood as passable, but when they try denying a seemingly biased candidate, they're shot down. The last candidate is a Southern woman who is an acquaintance of the victim. Sam wants to deny her admittance, but Thurgood says no. He argues that she is a woman with strong opinions, and she seems to hate pretentious people like Loren Willis more than she dislikes colored people. So now, the jury is assembled and they're ready for trial. Outside the court, Thurgood talks to the reporters about the trial already being unfair towards colored people because the judge denies his admittance as co-counsel and denies colored candidates to become a jury member. This sparks outrage in the predominantly white townsfolk, but Thurgood says that he's confident the jury will rule on a fair verdict. Sam is upset that Thurgood mocked the judge in front of the press, saying that the media shouldn't be part of this. Thurgood argues that this case is already controversial and has impacted the black community negatively due to the media coverage. While they're arguing, Irwin interrupts them to announce that he found the cop that can confirm Joseph's alibi. The cop confirms that he had pulled over Joseph because he thinks it's suspicious for him to drive a fancy car, especially at night. He also confirms that Joseph was alone and he didn't see the victim in the car. Irwin is ordered to take a sworn statement from the officer. Finally, the first day of trial begins, and crowds are chanting hate outside the court. Inside, the prosecutor calls the local police captain as their first witness to describe the testimony they received from the victim. He reveals that they found the victim's coat floating under the bridge and its torn piece on the bridge's guardrail. It's Sam's turn to question, and he asks why Joseph would push the victim towards the calm side of the lake if he wants to kill her. He also notes that the rocks found on and near the bridge are just pebbles, too small to cause damage if thrown at the victim, so it doesn't make sense. After the trial is finished for the day, Loren approaches Sam and Thurgood to propose a plea deal to protect the victim's privacy. He wants Joseph to admit that he's guilty, and Loren will propose a 20-year sentence instead of a life sentence. Thurgood says there won't be any deals, but they still need to relay the message to Joseph since it's his choice to make. Joseph thinks it's better to take the deal, but Thurgood tells him not to give away his freedom without a fight if he is actually innocent.
You're gonna have to fight for it. You don't have to fight alone. That's why I'm here.
Trial continues, and the next witness on the stand is a gynecologist who inspected the victim after she escaped. Loren's questions lead to the doctor revealing that he found scratches and bruises on her body and clear signs that point to sexual assault in her genitals. Sam requests to read the full medical report and suggests that the scratches and bruises are from her attempt to escape. He also suggests that the signs of sexual assault can be a result of prolonged rough intercourse. Loren objects to Sam's line of questioning, and the judge grants it. In the back, Thurgood receives a worrying note and immediately heads out of the courtroom to call his wife. She just had a miscarriage, and it breaks his heart that he cannot be there to comfort her. Back in the courtroom, Sam is flustered because there's no Thurgood to guide him on what to ask next. He asks if the doctor found signs of struggle, which he did find skin under the victim's fingernails. Sam questions why that wasn't written in the report, and the doctor reveals that it's because the skin was of a colored man. Thurgood, who listened from the back of the room, is upset because that's exactly what Loren wants Sam to ask the doctor. Now the jury is prejudiced towards Joseph. This sparks an argument between the two, with Sam saying that they should have taken the deal and that the NAACP is only using Joseph for their own causes.
See, it's my life that is on the line here.
This tension persists until the next trial session, where it's the victim, Eleanor Strubing's turn to be questioned. She is a wife of a rich man, and they moved to the area only about a year ago. Loren asks her to describe what happened that night. She says she went home from a dinner with friends at 10 p.m., took a shower, and was preparing for bed when Joseph suddenly enters the room and charges at her. He held a knife to her throat as he assaulted her twice, then ripped a piece of cloth from her dress to gag her. He drove to the bridge while she was told to hide in the back seat, bound and gagged. Then the rest is as described in her statements from earlier. Before Sam's turn to question, Loren asks if Eleanor encountered anyone during the drive. She says that a police officer pulled the car over, but Joseph threatens to cut her throat if she doesn't hide. This blows the surprise witness that Sam and Thurgood are depending on for Joseph's alibi. During recess, the two attorneys forcibly enter a private club where Loren is having his meal. Thurgood claims that Loren somehow found out about their cop witness and told Eleanor to lie on the stand. However, Loren gives them proof that Eleanor had already told the police about the car being pulled over right after she reported the crime.
This from Ellie Strubing the morning they found her. Dated, timed, notarized.
Thurgood is drinking his stress away in a bar when a woman comes up to flirt with him. Suddenly, the three men who were terrorizing him during the start of the movie come in and sit next to him. They patronize him, not knowing he was the Black Panther. So bar fight ensues. Before long, the fight ends once the bartender aims his shotgun at the bigots and tells him to respect Thurgood. The woman helps to wrap Thurgood's injured hand when she sees his wedding ring. She says that women are women and men are men, which seems to help Thurgood realize something. Meanwhile, three other men also come up to Sam that night. They start beating him up and calling him slurs for Jews because he's representing Joseph's case with Thurgood. Thankfully, they all scatter when Irwin comes to pick him up with his car. Significantly wounded, Sam returns home to his wife crying. She is shocked and worried about his condition and helps to treat his wound. After calming down, she reveals that she was crying because her family in Europe were captured by the Nazis. A knock on their front door startles them. They take one knife each and approach the door, but it's only Thurgood. He says he needs to talk about the case, which Sam shot down because of the horrible timing, but he finally lets his co-counsel inside. Thurgood thinks that Joseph lied to them about never having touched Eleanor. He theorizes that the two were having a consensual affair, but Eleanor accused him of the crime because she was afraid of getting caught, especially if she gets pregnant. So Thurgood confronts Joseph, making him finally admit that she was indeed in the back seat of the car that night. Joseph maintains that he didn't assault her, and it was consensual, that she was the one who wanted to stop at the bridge. He didn't know why she suddenly started screaming and threw herself off the bridge. Thurgood asks why Joseph lied in a sworn statement, and he says it's simply because he was scared of what they'll do to him if they knew a black driver like him slept with his white mistress. The following day, it's time for Sam to question Eleanor. From his questions, it's established that she used to be a swimming athlete in her youth, that she is often left alone by her husband who goes on business trips, and that she had drank some wine during the night of the alleged attack. Sam drops the bomb, suggesting that Eleanor invited Joseph to sleep with her because she was attracted to him. Eleanor denies it, and the judge orders Sam to stop pursuing the speculation.
Mr. Friedman, no more of this. You understand me?
Sam continues by placing doubts in Eleanor's story. He asks why she didn't scream in her house or in the car where her maid or the police could have heard her, but she says she was scared, and she couldn't scream due to the gag. Sam demonstrates using an identical gag, screaming loud and clear in front of the jury. Thurgood, who helped Sam with the demonstration, argues that she was actually scared of her husband killing her, not of Joseph. The judge orders him to stop speaking, so Sam continues the barrage of accusation against Eleanor. She insists that she was attacked and thrown off the bridge while being gagged and tied, but Sam argues that her hands weren't tied since she can take off the coat and start swimming to shore. The questioning stops. The hearing is finished for the day, and the two attorneys prepare for Joseph to be questioned tomorrow. Sam begins the following session by listing all the negative things that Joseph had done, all of which he confirms to. Now Joseph tells his version of the story. He says that Eleanor was always kind to him, unlike her abusive husband. That night, Joseph needed money to pay off a gambling debt, so he knocked on her door and asked for a loan. She prepared the money, but seemingly tipsy, she starts kissing Joseph and asking him to validate her feelings. The pair indulged in their pleasures twice that night, but upon hearing dogs barking outside, Eleanor panicked. She thought someone is coming and was afraid she'd get caught, so she ordered Joseph to drive. They drove around until the officer came to stop Joseph, so Eleanor hid in the back seat. Once cleared and moving again, Eleanor ordered Joseph to stop the car on the bridge. Joseph tried to stop her from leaving the car, and that's why there were signs of struggle. She then jumped from the bridge, and because he was scared, he returned to her house. When it's his turn, Loren's questions lead to ask why Joseph lied in his statement about never having relations with Eleanor.
Objection. Argumentative.
Overruled.
He says that where he came from in Louisiana, if the public knew about the interracial affair that they did, they will tie him up, cut off his manhood, and lynch him. After today's session, Thurgood and Sam are drinking in Sam's office when Thurgood's boss comes unannounced. He wants Thurgood to leave for another case in a different city as soon as possible. Thurgood feels bad for leaving before hearing the verdict, but he knows that his expertise is needed to help this accused child. So, he and Sam have dinner together at the train station before his departure, where he helps Sam formulate his closing statement.
Who is telling the truth? A woman from a fine family? A depraved man? A repeat criminal with no moral? Joseph Spell raped Eleanor Strubing, then he hurled her over the bridge to kill the only witness to his crime. Now, as a jury, you have been exposed to the darkness of a sinister man's soul.
He urges the jury to find Joseph guilty so that he cannot harm another person again. Meanwhile, Sam's closing statement sympathizes with Eleanor, whose marriage seems miserable due to her abusive and absent husband. She got drunk, felt lonely, and indulged together with Joseph. When panic struck her, she jumped into the lake to kill herself, but her instincts as an athlete forced her to swim ashore. That's why she made up the story. And Sam reminds the jury that her story is full of holes that bring doubt to its truthfulness.
The doubt, my friends, is overwhelming.
In a last-ditch effort, Loren offers Sam another deal of 5 years in prison in exchange for Joseph admitting his guilt. Sam relays this to Joseph, who seems interested until Sam reminds him what Thurgood would say in this situation. So, Sam rejects Loren's deal.
Give me good news.
No deal. And I told him that no man should ever confess to a crime he did not commit.
I thought Jews were supposed to be smart. Jews sound just like the Negro.
It's possibly the greatest compliment you could have given me.
Finally, the jury has reached a verdict. The woman, whom Sam wanted to dismiss before trial started, is to read the verdict. Joseph is found not guilty of all charges against him.
Is not guilty.
That's it, Joseph. We did it.
Mr. Spell, you are released from custody.
Sam gets a call from Thurgood asking him about the good news.
Not guilty!
Not guilty.
Thurgood feels a sense of pride for accomplishing this win with his newfound friend. The movie ends with citing Thurgood's accomplishments past the events of this movie. He became the first African-American Supreme Court judge in 1957 and became a pioneer of civil rights cases.